Here I am again, guys. I've magically appeared at a table from that willow tree. As you can see, I got my blank there. I think a mozzie bit me on the face. Yeah, so now we're going to do some carving. I've got my Japanese carving knife. Remember, this is dry oak, so you know it's not exactly soft. But see how I use the leverage? A lot of the power's in that wrist, not so much wrist, but how do you call it? The fingers and the thumbs, where you place your thumbs. So most things, you know, there's never usually like that. And if you're doing freehand, you're just smashing your blade into it, pulling it away. Be careful. You don't really need to do that. So see, I got the leverage right above kind of the knife, and it's a lot of poundage, a lot of pressure going into that, and just twist. And if your knife's sharp, and even though this wood's pretty tough, it's oak and it's dry, see how that's already starting to form. And you know, it's cool because where you've worked, you'll find all these kind of wood chips everywhere. People will know how to find you. And yeah, so we're beginning to form this spoon, you know, like, and you remember how I was carving with the axe around there, and then we start to do all the finer detail. Before I like to do the bowl, I like to kind of get the surrounding, before I cut into there with a hook knife, yeah? So what I like to do is this surrounding area, I like to get that to what I want it, and a little bit over here to what I want it. It gives me a good indication of how I want my bowl to be shaped, and you know, all that. Otherwise you kind of chase your tail, so to speak. So you work on first things first. You're kind of breaking down the dimensions, you know. So right now I'm just kind of working on the neck a little bit more. Just, I guess that's what you'd call it, the neck right here, and get that a bit closer. This spoon, it's beautiful because it's small, and I just finished a massive one. The ash one I showed you is because it is small. I can really focus into the finer things, like getting it really thin and getting the detail, and you know, taking the time for the finish. Because even though it's a smaller spoon to say a cooking spoon, it's no less, it's got all the charm of the cooking spoon, you know. It doesn't lack anything just because of size, you know. So yeah, see, I'm just, as you can see, I'm just shaping that. See how always keep my fingers away. See the leverage I'm using? See how it's like that? Chunk, chunk. So a lot of that thumb's pushing. See that thumb? So watch the thumb. And sometimes what I'll do, depending on the area, so one thing you'll find about carving, you don't get too comfortable in one position, because what happens naturally, you'll be like, oh, this is really easy to carve right here. But if you're just carving right there, you just create a big ditch. So you're constantly, with carving, you're constantly changing your position. It's a lot of people talk about spoon carving, how it's so spiritual, and it really, you understand that when you do it, because, you know, like I'll give you an example, just what I was explaining, you know, how you're constantly moving, you're having to adapt, you're constantly stretching yourself, right? Now, if you apply that to your life, that can be a really powerful principle, because, you know, like the saying, a rolling stone gathers no moss, is if you're constantly challenged, what would a person look like if they were constantly challenging their fears and stretching themselves and learning? I think I know what that person would look like. That person would look like a very successful person, you know. I don't think that's everything, but hey, I think it's I think that's powerful, you know. And I actually struggled doing videos for a while because, you know, I mean, I'm a very spiritual person, and I guess I wasn't sure about content, you know, but I'm finding as I'm doing what I can, is I just need to be myself, and this is what this is, you know. And yeah, so see, I'm just going back and forwards, coming back to the neck here. Now this little trick I learned in NAM. So see that neck, how I've got that? I'll show you how to do that. Some people don't run it in like that. I think that's really neat. So it just looks like it's attached to it, like I've bored a hole into it and then attached that. I did do that. No, I didn't really, but you'd almost think I did, eh? Right, so to do that, what you do, right, is see that part right there? So what I'll do is I'll mark it for your sakes, not for mine. So I'm marking it with a pencil. Ah, it's pretty. Can you see that? Can you see that? I'm not very good at this. See where I marked it? You'll kind of carve that out. It's like above from right here, like down here. Don't be scared to go right down, kind of there. And what I'll do is I'll carve that out in level with a handle kind of thing. So just put that down a bit. See, carving that. I don't normally carve with these angles because I'm trying to show you guys on the camera. I mean on the phone, or see how I'm carving it out like a ditch. You carve that out, level with the handle. See how that looks like, kind of like that. It's a bit of a process, but so what I'll do is I'll come around now the front part. Oh, giving you guys a finger, sorry. I'll kind of carve around there. So again, if I'll mark it for your sakes, but that's where roughly, see that line up top? That's where I'm going to make like a little bit of a recess. To do that, you score it, so you kind of get your blade and your so it takes a bit of pressure, but please don't freak out. This wood is brutal. That's why I was talking about with the first video, how start out with this, with a soft stuff. You can hear that little baby water hen. They actually get quite annoying, very demanding for food. Everyone feeds them, so they're like, give me food, man. I had to kick a possum out of my van the other night because I tamed him, and now he climbs at my van at night when I'm trying to sleep. So I've stopped feeding him. He gets enough food, don't worry guys. See, I've started carving where I marked it, and it creates a bit of a lip there. Eventually that'll be way more obvious, but a lot of things when you're carving start off very subtle. Again, with the spiritual talk, but you know, a lot of things that, yeah, they start off, you know, really like insignificant, but you keep going at them, you keep shaping it, and you start to get something that is quite recognizable, if that makes sense. Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this one. It's gonna look, see how I'm rounding it, guys? Getting that, you know how I said first I'll do this outer shape of the bowl, then I'll do the carving on the inside, and I'm true to my word. So yeah, so now I'm still working on that, all the carving, all the shaping. I won't finish this spoon on camera, just because it'll probably take a bit long, maybe. Again, I'm getting used to a lot of the editing and stuff, so bear with me, guys. But talk to me if you can, if you want. Let me know what you think. When it comes to opinions and advice, I'm never afraid to hear what people have got to say, but I'm not listening to everyone. I don't believe in that. I don't believe I want to listen to everyone. I don't believe everyone's for me or for certain people, and I think in this life you have to be selective of who's close to you and who speaks into you. So, you know, there's general advice, there's general tips, and whoever you are, you have to make decisions, even judgments on whose advice you listen to and stuff, and be very aware of that and conscious of that. You know, I think that goes for all of us, you know, and protect yourself, protect your heart, you know, protect what's precious, and don't take certain things on board, even if it looking like a wacko and going like this physically in the air when someone says something. Who cares? I find sometimes physical enactments are very powerful spiritually, you know. It's you know, even if it is for yourself to go, nah, I just rejected that, you know. Yeah, do it. Please don't live in obligation. Don't live in you know, it's like social media's got a lot of fake stuff, and you know, maybe you like the fake stuff, you know. I don't know who you are that you could be watching this, but for those of you who want the real and authentic, you know, and want to be real and authentic, you know, honesty is a good place to start. And because of what I've been through in life, I believe to a degree that it's actually, I'm going to sound like I'm big noting myself, but it's true, that I'm actually quite, it's quite natural for me to be very honest and open. And, you know, for a lot of people I meet, it's not, and that's okay. Don't, you know, takes all of us, you know, and yeah, don't ever beat yourself up over that, you know, like, you know, and I find too, a lot of the best of things, they're caught, not taught. And proximity to, just like, you know, you'll notice, you ever hang around someone bad when you're a kid or whenever, and you hang around someone bad and you find that whether you like it or not, you'll start swearing, you start doing what they're doing. It's weird. It's just, it's not like you're there and you're like, oh yeah, I want to swear and I want to do what they're doing. You just will pick it up. Well, the beauty of that is, it's the same going with, if you hang around good people, you'll pick up good habits. So yeah, so there's a bit of the you know, bit of nuggets there for you. See how it's kind of looks weird at the moment, but like a lot of things, you got to trust the process. See, now it's like I'm carving out for the top to match that bottom part. See how I'm getting close? Eventually I'll be scoring it like this, scoring it to get that closeness. Again, I'm probably don't need to do too much of this yet till I start carving the bowl. So what I'll do is I'll make sure the bowl's finished. So that's not really finished. That's a bit round. I don't mind abstract, but that's got the squareness of the cut. See the squareness still there? There's still squareness. So these parts here need to be more rounded, these parts here, unless that's what you're after, but I'm not after that. I want a spoon that looks like a traditional round spoon at the top part. I want that to be round traditionally. Again, a lot of things are preference. Don't feel like you have to do things just because that's how Joe Blow or Boris even or Borry does them, you know. So you know, find your groove and you know, find who you are, the authentic you, and you know, and let that part be the special part of you that the world sees, that the people are given, the food you give them. I know that sounds weird, but when we give ourselves, you know, emotionally and all that, it's we feed the world around us, you know. Sometimes it, you know, it's actual food, but yeah, so don't think you have to be a cook to feed everyone, you know. See, I'm just going ham at that squarish part. So I like things too, some things to, I find when you round off certain things or shape certain things, when you look at it aesthetically, it changes you from looking at for example, a block of wood to, no, that's a spoon, because of the shape and the way our minds work and how we see shapes. I think that's so beautiful. You know, it's like a painting. A painting, you know, you can look abstract, but then when you step back, just because of where everything's been placed, so to speak, in the painting, you know, you see something and you realize it's in all the abstract randomness, it's actually not random, it's placed for a purpose. And I think that's very powerful, and it's a thing you see in art. So I'm finally content with the shape in the most part. So got my roll over here. Got my hook knife. See these water hens that are surrounding me. You probably see them walk in the background. They think the wood chips is bread. They're sorely disappointed when they see I got my hook knife. I think it's sharp from when I last used it. You do regularly have to sharpen. So you have a look. See. And look, as far as angles go, some people are really good at explaining exactly what angles you come from and stuff, and I can do that, but I'm better at showing you, because what you'll find is all that, the beauty of this is, all that is, once you start doing this, see how I got my fingers out of the way, see how it's just, see the power of my fingers in the tool, see how just that movement in my fingers, that's where the power is. See, it's also in that thumb, see the thumb I got hitching off the shoulder, see the thumb? So the thumb's hitching off the shoulder, I've got it in my fingers, and that's actually how it moves, like that. So your finger muscles are getting smashed. See, watch. See, those finger muscles are what is actually doing it. And see how I'm kind of going down a little bit with the grain? Now, what you'll find too is when you initially start carving, say, the bowl, you got a lot of splits, especially if it's hardwood like this. That's okay, because once you start getting closer to where it's got to be, you'll start refining it, and that's all. You know, you'll start you know, you make sure your blade's sharp and you're kind of like, all right, this cut's got to look pretty kind of thing. See, and you'll probably come from the side more. See, like this, you can't come from the side like that. You go, and yeah, with a sharp knife, and that's how you'll get that smoothness. But initially, you know, within reason, you're just eating the meat away, so to speak. You're kind of, oh, the wood chips were hitting my leg and I freaked out. I thought it was something. So yeah, so see how I'm just kind of sliding down the grain a little bit. Now, the wood chips fly when I'm doing this, but please understand, I've been doing this for a little while and I'm actually quite, and I'm only going by what I've seen other people doing around me, but I've actually I make it look a bit easy, or maybe not, but you know, this, like I said, it's not it's pretty tough wood, dry oak. So you see that? So yeah, it's see how that bit where the moisture's gotten to, I explained when I was at the willow. It's a lot softer and it's almost a bit flaky, but it'll do the job. I want that part in there because that dynamic, see how it's pale? It's not actually so much as a sapwood pale. That's actually pale because of the moisture damage that's gotten to the wood, believe it or not. But once it's smooth, once it's carved, you'll be amazed, and the oil coat goes on it, the linseed coat goes on it. It actually will really stabilize it and protect it. And you'll find if it's not too soft, which I don't think it is, it'll actually look, it'll be fine. And like I said, because it is oak, even though that bit's a lot softer, you know, some people will be making a wood probably to the equivalent of the softness of that damaged, water damaged part. So yeah, I don't know if that makes sense. So like I say, proof's in the pudding. So, you know, you will eventually, maybe a lot, depends on the person maybe. I did it a lot and I still do it every now and then. You will stuff spoons up. And be willing to let go and learn from your mistakes. Be willing to go, oh, that spoon's not going to work. It's going to split right down here. You know what I mean? Because let me tell you, I've seen it and I've done it too many times. You waste your time on something that's not going to eventuate. Again, spiritual meanings. You know, it's like people. There's certain people, you'll see cracks in them. And I don't care what anyone says. You know, when you build a relationship, you invest time, energy. Like you said, you feed the world around you. You take, I know it sounds weird, but it's like you take chunks of yourself out and you give them to those around you. And if you do it to the wrong people, you give of yourself and nothing gets put back. So you end up being broken and empty. But if you give out from yourself to the right people, it'll multiply you, because they'll actually give back, and there'll be this multiplication that happens between healthy relationships. So yeah, there's some more. That's free advice there, mate. I'll give you that one for free. But yeah, so so when it comes to water damage and spalting, like, so spalting is when that happens, when the water goes into the wood and it's like a fungus, and like some people get technical, but I've heard people get technical that I'm not that invested into finding out the research between the type of funguses and all that. But essentially spalting is like little bits of mold, and you know, some of the wood's beautiful spalted wood. If you don't know what spalted wood, a quick Google. If you don't know what spalted wood is, quick Google search and you'll find out. You'll see heaps of pictures, and you know, you can find out more than I've just told you. That's for sure. We live in that age where, you know, a lot of information is readily available to us. And so I'm continuing with the carving of the bowl. So I wonder if you can see, I've got a bit of light in my eyes. I'm going to be sunburned. I'm paying for this, guys. You know, look what I do for you. No. You see how it's where I've carved? It slowly takes shape. This part here probably better going down from here. Yeah, it is. Not probably, it is. See how it's a smoother cut already? See, because I've kind of cut into it and I can start to do a lot smoother cuts. I've kind of got somewhere to see. And what I do, what you can do too, is you'll get tired with certain motions, with certain carving. So, you know, I might do this for a while with the bowl, but then I might come back and start doing the neck again. So you can go back and forwards. Don't feel like you can't. So I'll just sharpen. I've got a whetstone. Now with whetstones, yes, whetstones work a lot better being soaked in water and having heaps of water. Hear me out. But what I've found, if you don't have water and you have a whetstone, it doesn't mean you can't use it. Please don't think you can't use it. So I've just poured a bit of water. I'm not soaking any water or anything. You can still use it. It just means the pores of the stone fill up with carbon and stuff. So, and bits of the stone. So you can see the bits of carbon kind of dripping off, maybe. But it just means it clogs the pores up, and you don't get that slurry action with the water and the carbon and bits of stone. So yes, it's more abrasive. It sharpens your knife better when there's water on a whetstone. Absolutely. Or if you've got an oil stone, of course it works better with oil or water depending on your stone. Now, oil will ruin a whetstone. You'll ruin your whetstone. Don't put oil on a whetstone, especially if you get a fancy Japanese one or something like the clay stuff. They call it polishing because it's so fine, and it depends on your grit too. But yeah. So if it's a water stone, it's a water stone. If it's an oil stone, it's an oil stone, because once you get that oil on your stone, it's right in there. It soaks right in there, especially your water stones and stuff. So there's a little bit of advice. So I'm sharpening up my Japanese on this whetstone a little bit. Now, like I said, if I was to do it really properly, I'll have it sitting in water and all that, and you know, Mr. Tanaka will be there teaching me. But no, like, see, I've got a bit of water on handy I brought to drink. I don't always have water handy, and it will still sharpen my knife. It's not as effective, it's not as quick, but yeah. So there's a little speech on that one. So now I'm stropping it. Again, you don't turn like on my other video. You don't turn. You keep with a straight motion. You're undoing your work if right at the end of the strop you turn your blade. It's which can be a natural reaction. So make sure it's flat. When you're stropping, it's flat, because you're going past a burn. You're getting rid of it. So I've just resharpened my Japanese blade. Oh, I can feel that already. Like, it's just, look at that, chunks are flying off. And you get real sensitive to certain things when you do them a lot, you know. And yeah, so now I'm doing a bit more handle. This handle will be like at least half that thickness, you know. And what I found with making spoons, it looks very effective in my opinion when you use that finesse and you use that when you make something look more delicate rather than, oh, look at the spoon I carved, look how thick, strong. It looks like, you know, it looks like you just, you know, you got your pocket knife out while you're by the campfire. Like, I mean, if you did something like that by the campfire and you didn't carve, people would be like, oh yeah, sick, that looks sick, man, I'm gonna do one too. But the next level, in my opinion, is to have those little processes that refine your art, you know. So I'm just going at this neck a bit more. Now, oh, I just got stabbed by a wood chip. It's all good, it didn't hurt me. See how I'm curving in just to remove meat, as I use that term again. But it splits up here. So when you're doing removal, you know, like when I explained with the bowl, when you're doing that initial removement, you'll get splits. You'll get certain splits, and that's okay. That's part of removing quickly excess material. But obviously when you're doing fine tuning, it won't be like that. When you're doing fine tuning, you get slight little splits, and then you'll go back the other way and you'll fix up those splits. You know, you'll go the other way. So it's just where you're at, and you'll learn that with time. It's like, oh, I've nearly finished this spoon, and you'll be like, oh, I'm being careful and delicate now because I'm right there. I'm not there yet. I can still go ham at this because there's still so much removal. We're a removalist specialist, you know, so yeah, so there's splitting going on, you know. Don't be scared of that when you're in the removaling process. With a name like Boris, I could talk like this and you'll think that this is natural for me to talk like this, but in fact it is incorrect because I am Australian. And I actually talk like this, mate, all right? So take it easy on me. Yeah, so, yeah, I'm just switching between characters, nothing weird going on here. But, yeah, so, I find sometimes I can be moody, but moody in more quirky ways. I think sometimes when you say moody to someone, they think, oh, you're happy, but then you're also really ticked off. But I'm moody. I can be moody where I'm always a bit quirky, but sometimes I'll be extra quirky. And it's an ADD thing, but especially when I'm sleepy, like I will just be a clown. I haven't been sleeping the most for different reasons, and yeah, so I can find myself getting quite absolute, you know, just being a clown, you know. So yeah, it's, I think it makes life fun, and I think it's a creative person thing too, but I think life can be very boring without humor. It's just like boring. So I find it's beautiful to be able to get a laugh out of yourself, get a laugh out of other people. I make myself laugh, I really do, not all the time. But yeah, I think it's, see, I'm getting that shoulder a little bit. And yeah, it's just shaping, guys. It's a lot of it's just shaping. So I hope this really helped. I might come to a conclusion, and please, guys that follow me on YouTube, because this is going to YouTube, please find me on Instagram, Boris Yaroslavcev. Oh, that's a big one, isn't it? It's the same name, but in one name. And find me on Instagram and follow me. Give me a holler out, like and subscribe and follow me and share. Yeah, and you know, I got to get better at marketing myself and better at you know, just embracing social media, just embracing all the dynamics and all the people that could be listening, or you know. And I'd please understand, I do appreciate my followers, and if there are any yet. But yeah, I do appreciate you guys, and feel free to chat, even if it's asking like questions. And maybe in the future I could do live videos, but also you know, I could answer questions on these videos. Like, I mean, if I had some questions right now that you guys asked me, I'd bring it up. I'd be like, yo man, nah, like, you know, no, you don't sharpen your knife in the dirt. I don't know. But yeah, so yeah, thanks guys.